Okay, so there's this guy. He exists before everything. Like before everything. No universe, no time, no darkness, no light, just him. And he's got thoughts. Really good thoughts. So he makes some divine spirit beings out of his thoughts and teaches them music. Wholesome. Then the most powerful one decides his music is better and goes rogue in the middle of the concert. And that one bad note causes 6,000 years of war, several destroyed continents, genocide, the invention of a very small ring, and the most important cave creature in history. Let's talk about it. In the beginning, there is Iluvatar, also called Eru, also called the One. He exists outside of time, and he makes the Ainur, these Holy Spirit beings, literally out of his own thoughts. He teaches them music. They get good at it. Then he calls them all together and says, okay, now make one big song. And the great music begins. Melkor is the most powerful Ainur. Iluvatar gave him the most of everything. The most fire, the most knowledge, the most potential. And he decides, midway through the cosmic concert, that his ideas are better than everyone else's. He starts singing his own thing. Loud, vain, endlessly repeated. Some Ainur follow him. Chaos in the divine orchestra. Iluvatar overrules him 3 times, each time incorporating Melkor's mess into something more beautiful than before. Then he stops the music and says, essentially, nothing you play exists outside of me, which is a devastating comeback. Then he says, meaning let it be, and the universe pops into existence. Many Ainur choose to descend into this new world and get bound to it. The great ones become the Valar. The lesser ones become the Maiar. Melkor is among them. Of course he is. That's going to be important later. So they all enter the world. The Valar divide up their domains. Manwe gets the sky. Ulmo gets the seas. Aule gets the earth and crafting. Yavanna gets plants. Varda gets stars. Mandos gets death. That's a lot of gods. Don't worry about it. Oh hey, Melkor is immediately destroying everything. The Valar build things, and Melkor unmakes them. This is called the First War, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Imagine trying to build a house, and your contractor keeps burning it down. For fun. Eventually, the Valar manage to build the 2 lamps, giant pillars of light, and everything is genuinely nice for a while. Spring, life, beauty, the island of Almaren. Meanwhile, Melkor is secretly building a fortress called Utumno in the north, and corrupting Maiar into his service. They become Balrogs, demonic fire creatures, and a craftsman Maya named Mairon joins him too. You'll know him later as Sauron. That's going to be important later. Knock knock, it's Melkor destroying the 2 lamps. Almaren is ruined. The spring ends. The Valar retreat to the western continent, Aemon, and build Valinor, their paradise. Yavanna grows 2 new light sources, the 2 trees of Valinor. Telperion, the silver tree, and Laurelin, the golden tree. They light all of paradise. Varda uses their last light to set the stars blazing. And under those stars, elves wake up for the first time. They look up, see Varda's stars, and immediately decide she is their favorite forever. Reasonable. The Valar invite the elves to Valinor. Most go, some don't, and eventually the big strong Valatolkas shows up late and immediately body slams Melkor into chains. Turns out the solution was just to bring the big guy. Melkor is imprisoned for 3 ages. Oh, hey, also Aule got impatient, waiting for Iluvatar's children, and just made the dwarves himself. Iluvatar was not thrilled, but kind of respected the commitment. He let them live. Anyway, several thousand years later, Melkor gets out. He appeared to repent. Manwe let him go, because Manwe literally cannot conceive of evil. The most naive move in divine history. Melkor walks free into Valinor and immediately starts whispering poison into elvish ears. And this is where Fëanor comes in. Fëanor is the greatest craftsman who ever lived, most gifted elf, unmatched smith, also the most prideful being in all of creation, which will be a problem. He creates the Silmarils, 3 jewels containing the living light of both trees. Varda hallows them so evil hands burn on contact. They are the most beautiful objects ever made. Melkor wants them immediately. Melkor spreads lies, stirs up drama between Fëanor and his half-brother Fingolfin. Fëanor draws a sword on his own brother in the capital city during a festival in front of everyone, gets banished to a northern estate. Let's check how Melkor is doing. He has fled to find Ungoliant, a spirit of pure darkness living in the void in spider form, who hates everything including Melkor. They make a deal. Melkor and Ungoliant attack during a high feast. Melkor pierces both trees with his spear. Ungoliant drinks their light. The trees die. Darkness falls. Then Melkor kills Finwë, Fëanor's father, steals the Silmarils, and flees to Middle-earth. Fëanor names him Morgoth, meaning Black Foe of the World. The Valar ask Fëanor to give up the Silmarils to rekindle the trees. He refuses. The trees are dead anyway. The Valar make the sun and moon from the last living petals. Morgoth sets the Silmarils into an iron crown. They burn him constantly. He wears them anyway. Fëanor delivers the oath. He and his 7 sons swear by Ilúvatar himself to pursue the Silmarils from anyone who withholds them. Enemy, ally, Vala, or God. This is the worst oath ever sworn. The Noldor follow him toward Middle-earth. The Teleri elves refuse to give them ships. Fëanor slaughters them and takes the ships anyway. The first kinslaying. Elf on elf murder. The Valar issue the doom of Mandos. Everything will go wrong. Fëanor then burns the ships rather than let Fingolfin's people share them. Fingolfin has to walk across the grinding Arctic ice. Many die. Fëanor arrives in Middle-earth and immediately charges Balrogs alone and dies. The greatest elf who ever lived did that. And so his sons inherit the oath and the grudge. Well, that's bad. So now, Middle-earth is a war zone. Morgoth is dug in at Angband under 3 volcanic peaks. The Noldor build kingdoms. The Sindar elves under King Thingol. And the Maya-Melian rule Doriath in the middle. 5 major battles happen over centuries. The first 4 go okay-ish. Then men arrive, which is new. Meanwhile in Doriath, a mortal man named Beren wanders in and falls in love with Luthien, daughter of Thingol and the Maya-Melian, literally the most beautiful person who ever lived. Thingol is furious a mortal dared, so he sets an impossible price for her hand, 1 Silmaril from Morgoth's crown. Beren says okay. Thingol expected him to say never mind. Beren gets help from Finrod, an elf king who owes his family a debt. They disguise themselves as orcs. Sauron catches them in a magic singing battle. Sauron wins. Finrod dies in prison defending Beren. That sucks. Luthien breaks out herself, finds Beren, and the 2 of them walk into Angband. Luthien sings Morgoth to sleep. The Dark Lord. She sang him a lullaby, and he passed out. Beren reaches into the Iron Crown with his hand and pries out a Silmaril. On the way out, a giant werewolf called Carcharoth bites off Beren's hand with the Silmaril inside. The jewel burns Carcharoth from within, and he goes mad. Both Beren and Luthien die, eventually. They appear before Mandos. Luthien sings. Mandos cries. The god of death cried. That's how good the song was. He lets them come back as mortals. They live and die together. The Silmaril is recovered when Carcharoth is slain. I think there was a prophecy about this. Let's check how the sons of Fëanor are doing. Still making everything worse. Morgoth unleashes Glaurung, the first dragon in the 5th battle. Catastrophic defeat. The Noldor kingdoms start crumbling. And then there is Turin Turambar, son of Hurin, the most cursed person alive. Morgoth personally cursed his entire family. Turin is brilliant and tragic and magnetically unlucky. he accidentally causes the death of his best friend, kills a man who insulted him, falls in love with an elf who dies partly because of his overprotection, gets ensorcelled by Glorung the dragon, accidentally marries his own amnesiac sister. The dragon reveals the truth. The sister throws herself in a river. Turin kills himself with his own sentient cursed sword Gurthang, which agrees to do it. The sword agreed. It was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. And then Gondolin, the last great hidden city, falls. Betrayed by Meglin, who wanted his own cousin, and gave up the city to Morgoth for power, fire, and dragons, and Balrogs. All the great kingdoms gone. Meanwhile, a half-elven mariner named Arundel, grandson of Gondolin's survivors, has a wife named Elwing, who holds Baron's recovered Silmaril. Let's check how the sons of Feanor are doing. They show up demanding the Silmaril for the third time this age. Elwing throws herself into the ocean with it. Ulmo the sea god lifts her up as a seabird, and she finds Arendel's ship. Arundel sails to Valinor, wearing the Silmaril on his brow, first mortal to breach its enchantments. He asks the Valar to please help, and they were moved. Finally, after 600 years of everyone asking nicely. Knock, knock, it's every god. The War of Wrath. The Valar come in force. Morgoth releases his last reserve, the winged dragon Ankalagan the Black, biggest dragon ever made. Arundel comes out of the sky in his ship with the eagles and kills Ankalagan personally. Ankalagan falls and breaks the peaks of Thangorodrim in his fall. Morgoth is dragged out of his deepest dungeon, asking for pardon. The Valar thrust him through the door of night into the void forever. Arundel becomes a star. The Silmaril he wears sails the sky forever. The Morning Star. The last two sons of Feanor, Medros and Maglor, steal the final two Silmarils from the Valar's camp because the oath still binds them. The jewels burn their hands. Medros throws himself and his Silmaril into a volcano. Maglor throws his into the sea. The three Silmarils rest in sky, earth, and ocean forever. The oath is done. Beleriand sinks beneath the waves. The First Age ends. And one of Morgoth's guys got away. Sauron. Just kept that detail in your pocket, and they lived happily ever after. Actually, the Second Age started, and Sauron was out there. Arendel's sons get to choose their fate. Elros chooses mortality and becomes the first king of Numenor, the great gift island given to men who fought Morgoth. Elrond chooses immortality. Remember Elrond. Numenor thrives for 3,000 years. Greatest civilization of men ever. Long lives, vast ships, real power. The one rule: never sail west toward Valinor. The ban of the Valar. Don't do it. Meanwhile, Sauron is back in Middle-earth disguised as Anatar, Lord of Gifts, an evil god. Networking. He befriends the elven smiths of a region, teaches them to make rings of power. 17 rings, made together. Then Sauron goes alone to Mount Doom and secretly forges the One Ring, designed to dominate all the others. He pours his own will into it, his own power. The moment he puts it on, the elves feel it. They take off their rings. Sauron is exposed. That sucks. Sauron destroys Eregion, captures Celebrimbor, Feanor's grandson, and tortures him to find the 3 hidden elven rings. Celebrimbor refuses to say where they are, and dies. The 9 rings go to great men, kings, heroes, sorcerers. They slowly become the Nazgul, undead wraith servants forever. They wanted power. They got power. Not the trade they thought they were making. The Númenóreans beat Sauron militarily. He surrenders voluntarily, gets taken to Númenor as a prisoner, and within a few decades, he is the king's chief advisor. He is a prisoner who took over the civilization. Sauron turns the Númenóreans toward worshipping Morgoth and fearing death and hating the Valar. He tells the king Ar-Pharazôn that the Undying Lands contain immortality, and the Valor are hoarding it. Ar-Pharazôn sails west with a massive fleet to take it. Iluvatar personally intervenes. Numenor drowns under the sea. The world bends. Valinor is removed from the mortal world entirely. Only elven ships can find it now. Sauron's body is destroyed in the flood. His spirit escapes with the ring. He can never take a fair shape again. 9 ships of faithful Númenóreans escape, led by Elendil and his sons Isildur and Anarion. They found Gondor and Arnor in Middle-earth. Sauron rebuilds Barad-dûr, makes war. The last alliance of elves and men. Elendil and Gil-galad versus Sauron. 7-year siege of Barad-dûr. Sauron comes out personally and kills both of them. Elendil's sword, Narsil, shatters beneath him as he falls. Isildur picks up the broken hilt and cuts the One Ring from Sauron's finger. Sauron's form dissolves. Everyone celebrates. Elrond tells Isildur to destroy the ring in Mount Doom. They are standing at Mount Doom. Isildur says no, and they lived happily ever after. Actually, Isildur wore the ring to escape an orc ambush, and it slipped off his finger into the river Anduin, and he died, and the ring waited. For a long time. The Third Age began. Oh hey, a hobbit-like creature named Smeagol found the ring at the bottom of the river. He killed his friend Diagol for it on his own birthday. The ring stretched his life for 500 years, and he became Gollum, living in a cave in the Misty Mountains eating raw fish. Anyway, 500 years later, a hobbit named Bilbo Baggins stumbled into his cave on an adventure, won the ring off him in a riddle game, and took it home to the Shire thinking it was a neat magic trick. 60 years after that, Gandalf figures out what the ring actually is. Gandalf is a wizard, actually a Maya, an actual divine being who was the wisest servant of Manwë and Varda. He went into Middle-earth as a wandering old man on purpose and never told anyone. He throws the ring in the fire, and fiery letters appear. One ring to rule them all. Oh no. Frodo, Bilbo's nephew and heir, inherits the ring. Gandalf says leave. The 9 Nazgûl, Sauron's undead ringwraith servants, are already hunting it. Let's check how Sauron is doing. He rebuilt Barad-dûr. He has armies of orcs. He has the Nazgûl, and he wants his ring back very badly. Frodo and his friends Sam, Merry, and Pippin run for Rivendell. The Witch King of Angmar, Lord of the Nazgûl, stabs Frodo with a cursed blade. Frodo nearly becomes a wraith. They make it to Rivendell, barely. Council of Elrond. Representatives of every free people gather. Frodo volunteers to carry the ring to Mordor and destroy it in Mount Doom, the only place it can be unmade. A fellowship of 9 is formed. Frodo, Sam, Merry, Pippin, Gandalf, Legolas the elf, Gimli the dwarf, Boromir of Gondor, and Aragorn. Aragorn is, quietly, the heir of Isildur and the rightful king of Gondor and Arnor. He did not mention this at the time. They try to cross the mountains. Blizzard. They go through Moria, ancient dwarf kingdom, now full of orcs. Gandalf fights a Balrog on a bridge. You shall not pass. Both fall. The Fellowship escapes devastated. Then Boromir tries to take the ring from Frodo, because the ring is affecting him. Frodo and Sam split off alone toward Mordor. They pick up Gollum as a guide. Meanwhile, Merry and Pippin get kidnapped by orcs, escape into Fangorn Forest, befriend Ents, giant tree herders who destroy Saruman's fortress, Isengard. Saruman was the wisest wizard, and also the one most likely to become a Dark Lord himself. Great hire. Meanwhile, Aragorn is gathering armies, including the Army of the Dead, Oathbreakers from thousands of years back who owe Isildur's heir a favor. I think there was a prophecy about this. Knock knock, it's Mordor's entire army at the gates of Minas Tirith. The Witch King kills Theoden, king of Rohan, in battle. Then Eowyn, a woman who snuck into the battle, unmasks herself. The Witch King says, "No man can kill me." Eowyn says, "I am no man." A hobbit named Merry stabs him from behind simultaneously. They kill the Lord of the Nazgûl together. I think there was a prophecy about this. Technically correct was the loophole all along. Let's check how Frodo and Sam are doing. Not great. Gollum betrays them to Shelob, a great ancient spider, one of Ungoliant's descendants. Sam thinks Frodo is dead and carries the ring for 10 minutes. The ring shows him a vision of Samwise the Strong, hero of the age, conquering everything. Sam puts it down. This is why Sam is the hero. They reach Mount Doom. At the very edge, over the fires where the ring was made, Frodo cannot do it. The ring wins. He claims it for himself. Gollum bites off Frodo's finger to take it back, dances at the edge with joy, loses his footing, and falls in. The ring is unmade. Sauron's power collapses. Barad-dûr crumbles. The Nazgul dissolve. Aragorn is crowned, King of Gondor, and Arnor reunited. He marries Arwen, Elrond's daughter, and Lúthien's distant descendant, who gives up her elvish immortality to be with him. She is choosing mortality for love. Same as Lúthien. The world keeps rhyming. And then the age ended. Really ended this time. The 3 elven rings lose their power when the one ring is destroyed. Everything they preserved begins to fade. Lothlorien, Rivendell, the magic things, Galadriel and Elrond, and Gandalf sail from the Grey Havens to the Undying Lands. Frodo goes too. He carried something that broke him a little, and some wounds don't heal, and Tolkien was honest about that. Sam watches the ship disappear, and goes home to his garden, and his family, and his life in the Shire. So that's the whole thing. One divine being's bad music taste caused 6,000 years of war, and it took the smallest possible creature to end it. Not a god, not a king, not the most powerful wizard. A hobbit who couldn't even do it at the last second. But he'd been kind to a miserable cave creature once, a long time ago, and that act of mercy from before any of this started was what saved the world. Anyway, that's Middle-earth, I guess. Try not to swear any oaths on your way out.